Hello YouTube, I'm David with the David West channel. Well, today I wanted to experiment some more with trying to come up with the cleanest possible char cloth that you can. It's my theory that the reason why some char cloth is less reactive than others is because there's smoke residue on the char cloth. And that's usually, once again, my theory, because the gases couldn't get out of the can and it coated the char cloth. And that can show itself in something as bad as completely brittle char cloth that you can't use, to just a covering. I'll show you some that has a sort of a covering of smoke residue on it. So I'm thinking that one of the main causes of that is using fabric that has like residue of washing powder, washing soaps, and fabric softeners on it. So according to Google, I could use 1 part white vinegar to 4 parts water, soak it for an hour, and that'll wash away, that'll remove those residues out of the denim. Another thing that I think from my years of experimenting is a cleaner char cloth comes from a char tin that was cooked in the flames instead of nestled down in the coals. So, and I think also to facilitate the gases venting and getting out of the can easier, I like a big hole in my char tin. So, you know, a can this size, you'd at least want a 1/4 inch hole in the top of it. So today I want to practice starting with cleaner cloth. And then I also want to try what Larry Roberts said. I noticed on his channel, he said when he's making char cloth, he never likes those gases to ignite. And so he'll put out the flame so that there's only steam and gases coming out of the can. So we'll try that. Maybe that'll produce a cleaner char cloth. But let me get a piece of my char cloth, try to get a close-up view of it, and show you exactly what I'm talking about with char cloth that has smoke residue on it. I do need to make this statement though. I know that there's people out there that cook their char cloth in the coals and the char tin completely sealed up, and still they have reactive char cloth. So there's times when you can get away with that, but then there's other times, if you've made any char cloth, you see that it comes out brittle and non-reactive at all. So these techniques, this clean char cloth that I'm trying to produce, may only have a little bit of a value to it, add just a little bit more reactivity to char cloth, but it's kind of a personal challenge of mine to figure out a way to make the most reactive char cloth possible. Let me give you a close-up of some smoky char cloth. And once again, because it's black, you can't really see the smoke residue on it, but there should be a slight sheen on that, which I have accidentally produced some like that before, mixed in with this smoky stuff, and I just feel like it's more reactive. Good char cloth should have a slight sheen on it and be supple. Anytime I make brittle char cloth, I throw it away. So let's go ahead and cut up some of that fabric and stick it in that jar. I've already got a 4-to-1 mixture of water and white vinegar. Alright, I also want to take some denatured alcohol. I wish you could see all that smoke residue on there. I want to see if this char cloth can hold up to denatured alcohol, and maybe that would wash off some of this smoke residue. Now I realize it's not primitive, but like I was telling somebody on the channel the other day, let's go ahead and find out what will work, whatever it takes to make it work, and then we'll see if it's adaptable to primitive ways. Well, I don't see the denatured alcohol getting cloudy. We'll let it soak there a little bit. See if we end up with some cleaner char cloth. Alright, let's go ahead and try Larry Roberts' way of not letting this steam, the escaping gases, go to flame. Wouldn't that be interesting if that's all it took to come up with clean char cloth, not to let this go to flame, to always have a steam, gassy venting coming from there. We'll see. I guess I could give you an update on this other stuff. Let me set it back on the table. And there's our white vinegar and water solution. That's been soaking about a half hour, and this has been soaking about a half hour. Let's go ahead and take it out and let it be drying. When it gets completely dry, then we'll see if it had any effect on it. No, it's not practical for primitive purposes, but like I said before, let's see what does work, and then we'll worry about primitive later. I'd say that water's a little bit cloudy, so maybe it is extracting some of those soap and softener residues. Oh, I let it go to flame. I'm so used to letting it go to flame that I didn't even think about it. Well, we'll make one more. We'll make one more batch, and I'll try not to let it go to flames. I like for mine to go to flames, but I don't know that that's necessarily better. Set it over by this heat right there. And of course, you never want to overstuff your char tin either. This is about done. That flame is about done right there. Let's let it cool off. When that cools off, we'll cook up another batch and try to try to remember not to let it go to flame. I can already see that this has still got the smoke residue on it. Yeah, this is the same. This is the same smoke covered char cloth that I always make, and it's reactive. Now here's some cleaner down at the bottom. It's cleaner down at the bottom. This is more like what we're looking for, but even that's got some residue on it. So let's go ahead and start our next batch. Hold on. I always like to wipe out as much of this soot as possible. See, you see those flakes? That's some of the residue that gets on the char cloth and makes it less reactive. All right, maybe I'll remember not to let it go to flames this time. And let's cast some sparks down on this. There's still the same amount of smoke residue on this. It's already received some great sparks. Landed right on it and went out just like that one. I tell you, it makes a difference. There is a difference between this smoke covered and just really clean char cloth. Did I hurt the reactivity of it? Boy, I can't let that go to flame. I think I ruined it by soaking it in that denatured alcohol. There's all kinds of good threads that should catch on. Yeah, we got it. We got it that time. Uh-oh. Oh, you're not going to be able to stop that gas from igniting. After it gets to a certain temperature, that gas is going to ignite. Oh, by the way, I wanted to show you this before it burns all the way down to my thumb. Okay. Maybe that's why Larry said he likes to try to extinguish the flame. I can imagine after it gets to a certain temperature, you're not going to be able to extinguish that flame, those gases coming out of there. It's still got a big flame shooting out of there. I don't know if you can see it from your angle. Now you ought to be able to see that. So let's just let that batch do its thing. I mean, you can never have too much char cloth. Then we'll go ahead and work this magic right here. We're done, ain't we? This is some leftover crepe myrtle that I had. I guess it's been about 45 minutes. So many variables if you think about it, because I'm going to cook that with there still being moisture in it. So if it works, you have to wonder if it would have worked if it was dry, or if it's always going to have that vinegar solution in there. If it works, is it just going to work on fabric as thick as denim? If it doesn't work, would it have worked on other fabrics other than denim? There's just so many variables, really, when you think about it. You'll get to see a lot of steam come out of that char tin. If I get it good and hot like it's supposed to, it's got to expel all of that steam before we actually get to the gases. And that steam usually comes out pretty light colored white. We'll wait on this to cool down. Oh, it's already cool. It's still very smoky. But as long as it's supple, it should still do a good job. Here's a pretty clean piece. I wish I could show you I don't think this is showing up on camera. This one is mostly smoke residue free. This one is too. So occasionally you make some very clean pieces, and this one's it's clean on that side and smoke residue on that side where it was sitting on the bottom of the char tin. So you might say it's not a big enough issue to try to come up with cleaner char cloth. Well, it's my personal challenge. I think it is. I think if there's a simple technique that we can use that consistently produces the cleanest, most supple char cloth, then you're going to consistently have some reactive char cloth. No, I don't expect all char cloth to be one strike ignite, But then I don't expect char cloth to ever come out of the tin and be so brittle that you can't use it either. All right, let's make some vinegar steam. Yeah, it's cooled off. I see a slight sheen on it. Let's check out these pieces. Smoke residue, but supple. This is feeling a little bit crispy right along that edge right there. And smoke residue. They're not bad though. They should be very reactive. I'm not going to tear this because it's already got some good thread sticking out on it. I had several good sparks go right up inside those threads. Let's go ahead and tear it. And we'll try it on the fibers that are torn like we usually do. Ooh, that one actually caught a fiber and went out. So now you have to start wondering, did the vinegar hurt it? We're going to have to try some more because it looks like the vinegar actually hurt its reactivity. This is the one that's a little bit crispy on this edge over here. So let's go ahead and tear it in half. I still have some good threads to use. And let's see, a good sharp place on the rock. This is quartz, by the way. This piece of char cloth reacted normally. And one more piece. And this one actually feels soft and supple on this side, but brittle on that side. Let's go ahead and try it. And it did not expose very good fibers because it's brittle. Let's go ahead and try it. A char cloth like this I usually throw away, but you can make it work. I don't think we figured anything out today. That's why I've been taking my time over the years, just trying things as I go along. Just as I need a batch of char cloth, I might try this tweak or that tweak. Let's go ahead and get some flames and we'll say our goodbyes. I'll save them. I'll make use out of them. I'm back up to about a half a can of char, so there should be 60 or 70 pieces in there. Char cloth. All right, y'all. I appreciate you joining me on these experiments. We'll catch you on the next one.